now, I think Senator Hirono, but I will say, I want Ms. Yates to understand, Horowitz didn't find any bias in opening up the counterintelligence investigation, but he was dumbfounded by the series of events that occurred, including manipulating evidence and all the withholding of information from the court. He said, that's hard to explain. Not for me, it's not. Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The person who has very much politicized the Department of the Attorney General is the current Attorney General Bill Barr. There's been a lot of talk today about the Justice Department's errors and omissions in the FISA application process and the IG investigation where they interviewed 100 people, looked at 1 million documents, and as Ms. Yates just testified, there was no finding of political bias or improper motivations in the beginning of that investigation. But what hasn't been brought out is the fact that Christopher Wray, the FBI director, in response to the IG's recommendations, has taken more than 40 corrective steps to address the concerns. FBI Director Ms. Yates has warned that Russia is engaged in information warfare, and even as we speak, they are continuing to interfere with our 2020 presidential election. And you noted that their interference in 2016 was shocking and massive. Do you think our country is adequately prepared to combat Russian interference in this upcoming election?
Yeah, I'm no longer in government, Senator, so I don't know what's going on. But gosh, I hope so. And I hope that this is an all-of-government approach, because regardless of whether folks are Democrats or Republicans or what their views may be on anything else, I think and hope that we all share the same objective, that we want to protect the integrity of our elections.
I completely agree with you, but sad to say, this leads me into the next question, because it seems President Trump is not taking Russian interference in our elections seriously. And to your knowledge, has President Trump ever punished Russia or even criticized Russia for its attack on our democracy in 2016?
Well, I'm not an authority on that from an official standpoint. I can't recall an instance now. I'm not saying that it's never happened, but I sure can't remember one.
Well, if he has, I'd like somebody to point it out to me. And I don't think he has even acknowledged the current efforts by Russia to undermine our upcoming elections. Going on January 26, 2017, you warned the White House that President Trump's National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, had lied and denying that he discussed U.S. sanctions with the Russian ambassador. And yes, he had a back channel conversations going on. Did General Flynn pose a national security risk to the United States?
That was certainly our concern, Senator, is that the Russians had leverage over General Flynn, and the Russians will use leverage whenever they can.
And somebody as close to the president as being the national security advisor, I would say that he posed a national security risk, and that is how I take your response. Now, during an earlier back and forth with the chairman, there was a question on whether General Flynn's discussions with the Russian ambassador about sanctions related to a run-of-the-mill policy difference. You know, what's the problem of an incoming administration trying to reset their relationship with another country? But is it standard run-of-the-mill stuff for a member of an incoming administration to undermine sanctions imposed by the current administration against a country that massively interfered in our elections, particularly when that country interfered in favor of the incoming administration? Is this merely a mere resetting, or did it raise a lot more concerns?
Senator, look, I totally understand that people of good faith can have different views on policies, and you can have a policy difference. But I would hope and expect that Democrat or Republican, Obama administration or Trump administration, that you would be opposed to the Russians trying to meddle in our elections.
Yes.
And that we would stand unified on that and make sure that we send the adequate message that they never do it again.
And this administration certainly is not sending that adequate message to Russia. You will not interfere with our elections. Now, having spent nearly 3 decades at the Justice Department, do you believe President Trump's obstruction of justice conduct, as described in the Mueller report, was enough to indict him? Do you think he would have been prosecuted were he not the President of the United States?
I think it certainly raised a number of troubling scenarios. And having been, a prosecutor for a number of years myself, let me answer it this way. I think that there were a couple of thousand former DOJ officials that signed a letter indicating that if that had been somebody else, they would have prosecuted. So,
and do you agree with that assessment?
I think there's
former people.
Yeah, I want to be precise here. I would want to look at the specific allegations, but there certainly were very troubling allegations with respect to obstruction.
And possibly resulting in multiple felony charges for obstruction of justice were he not a sitting president.
That's certainly the Mueller report made it clear that was stumbling block to his being able to make a conclusion about obstruction.
Thank you very much.